All right, awesome. Hey guys, welcome to episode 6. I'm just so excited. Like, this is really solidifying and taking an identity, and I'm just excited for it. I'm really excited for it. So, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about lock and society. Societal standards are definitely going to affect the way that you use lock. So, for those of you who haven't seen the previous episodes, Um, lock is about living on cash flow. It's about having 4 accounts, 4 rules. Each account has a rule. For your living on cash flow account, all bills must be paid from this account. For your worth account, money put into this account is never spent. For our invest account, funds spent from here must be documented and get a return. And for the flow account, this account must be spent in full every month. That's just how you live, okay? Now, each of these represent a value. And if you haven't figured out the lock values, please go over to episode 2 and look at the PowerPoint number 4, where we start going over the fact that we value reality, legacy, growth, and freedom. All right? So I want to say welcome, Lock Tribe. I've got 16 subscribers at the time of this recording, and many more fans. I got a lot of people like, oh, what'd you talk about this time? Oh, what are you doing now? They haven't subscribed yet. They're going to. They don't own a YouTube account, those kind of things. But I just want to put it out there that I appreciate all of you. You guys are just awesome and fantastic. And so thank you guys. Welcome. So let's get into society standards, because you need to know who influences you. I can't just give you a tool and tell you to go off and run with it, because you're not going to be properly prepared. Okay, it's not fair to just throw you out, which is why we haven't done the Excel sheet yet. We really haven't gotten into the fundamentals of how to do this yet. We're still in concept stage, okay? Different people are going to have different standards, and I need you to really, really, really pay attention to that. Different people are going to have different standards, okay? That is why lock is customizable, and it's up to you to figure out how to customize it. There are going to be many challenges, okay? So many challenges. From religions, because, various practices such as donations. From sexism, that your sex somehow determines that you can and can't wear or can and can't own. Racists, oh my gosh, they pressure you to fit in with your purchasing power. Nationalism, getting you to spend money on branding. And, these beliefs are reinforced by your loved ones, by your friends, on television, on the radio, via the internet. And of course, you're going to have your own self-standards. And these are really going to combine in very unique ways. Some people will be more religious. Some people will be more affected by their loved ones. Some people will be more affected by the nationalism of their friends. So it really depends on the people around you. You need to understand how other people are influencing you. And that's what this episode is really about, is understanding the different types of people and how they can pressure you into making different financial choices. Because identity is very important to the brain, okay? We need an identity. Humans need an identity. Most people are taught to get their identity from their group. Look at this entire channel. It's Lock Tribe. It's Living on Cashflow Tribe. It's an identity of people who value focusing on their finances. It's an identity of people who value reality and value freedom and value legacy. So it's just really important to all of us. But have you questioned yet? Or are you just blindly accepting what society dictated for you? Think about it. We're born and they tell you a gender, they tell you a name, they tell you a race, they tell you a nation, they tell you a religion, and you're supposed to spend your entire life upholding these things that you never even chose, you never even questioned, you never were a part of. There was literally nothing about it that you could do before they already, cut and pasted you into whatever category they chose was easiest for them. So have you questioned yet? Now, religions, these are extremely outdated. You know, ask anybody of any religion and say, oh, well, when was your holy book written? And they're going to tell you generations upon generations upon generations ago. There is no photograph or video or, fossil record of any of this. It is just findings of people saying they heard from people, saying they heard from people, saying they wrote down, to saying that other people wrote down and that they heard from people. Almost every holy book has a conversation between one of the main characters to another of the main characters, and there's nobody there to witness it, and yet somehow somebody witnessed it enough to write it down. Those kind of things. It's extremely outdated. Now, it was useful in the past, absolutely, but you've got to understand how these outdated beliefs and outdated practices are going to affect your current financial choices. Now, there are something like 6,000 registered religions, okay? So before you go taking this personally and start commenting about whatever holy book you choose to follow or choose not to follow, please understand there are many, many, many religions. There is not a single religion being picked on or that kind of thing. I'm just stating that these are going to influence how you spend your money. And I'm not telling you that you're not allowed to follow or not allowed to believe in these outdated systems, okay? I'm not here to tell you how to live. I'm just here to give you intelligent tools to work in what we currently have. Now, many religions do require a certain dress. Now, some of that is going to be a daily requirement, and some of those are more weekly requirements. There are also yearly requirements, certain festivals or certain ceremonies that they expect you to wear. Obviously the most popular and the most expensive religious garment would be the wedding dress. Seriously, there are people who spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on such a garment, and it's because of their religious beliefs, and that definitely affects, their finances, right? There are also many religions that have certain restrictions on how you can earn your money. Many religions are based on the concept of there's a good and a bad, and, money from one way is good and money from one way is bad. So I want you to understand, too, that's going to affect you, about how creative you get about how you're going to make your money and how you're going to spend your money. Speaking of which, they also tell you who can manage your money. There are a lot of religions that are horrendously oppressive of children and women, that you aren't allowed to make money, or if you make money, you're not allowed to decide how it's spent. It has to go to whoever owns you, whichever vocabulary they use for that. And of course, they will tell you how to spend it. You have to give it to the religious leaders. There's all sorts of histories. The religious temples are always the ones that have the most wealth. And these rules are reinforced with social pressures, such as complete rejection, violence, and of course habitual repetitions. That's one of the defining self-definitions of I am religious, is basically saying I follow written habits. I follow habitual repetitions. And I need you to understand that whatever habitual repetitions you have, they're going to be affecting what you accept as okay for you to spend and what you don't accept. And that's all I'm saying here. I'm not saying if your religion is right or wrong. I'm not saying if religion itself is right or wrong. I'm not talking about your holy books. This is not a political statement. This is simply talking about, understand you have a certain financial pressure if you're going to follow one of these religious belief sets. It's a mindset that someone has handed to you and you have chosen to follow, and that's going to affect you and those around you. So just put some monetary values to that. Are there certain festivals or certain situations that you do every year or every season because of your religious beliefs? That is costing you for holding that belief. And that's all I'm trying to say here, is just understand what you are really spending on. That's all I'm saying here. Now, sexism. This is extremely outdated, and not only outdated as far as religious terms, where thousands of years of outdated. It can go thousands of years outdated, but it can also be, 2 to 3 generations outdated. Sexism, especially with, most recently in the political agenda, they've gotten a real strong voice of like LGBTQ, people who say that just because they identify as a different gender, now they have to be, treated differently. Now, don't get me wrong. If you identify as a different gender, I understand that is your mindset and that is your choice. But at the same time, to say I have to treat you differently if you identify as a male than if you identify as a female, that to me is complete sexism. Bullshit, motherfucker. You're a human being, and I will treat you as a human being. The way I treat you, whether you identify as male or as female or as both or as neither, is how I'm going to treat you because you are still human. And that's what I'm talking about here, is this sexism that permeates almost every culture I've ever come across, that because you have certain reproductive organs in your body, you must be treated and you must act accordingly to some set of rules. And of course, those rules vary slightly or greatly depending on which groups you're in. I mean, obviously, some of the most common ones we hear in my culture are, the man has to pay for the meal, and the woman can't be trusted with a credit card. These sort of sayings, these sort of things that they throw out there, these are just a social manipulation tactic to give financial power to one party over the other. I have seen situations where the female has the financial control and they use verbal abuse to always berate the man, to where the man is always paying for everything and she's getting everything that she wants. And that's what both of these are kind of toward. However, there is also the male way, that saying that, oh, the wife is supposed to care about the children, and if you're out there making money, you don't actually care about your children. There's a lot of that guilting going on. And most sexists do not view themselves as sexists. They really don't. And I'm going to ask you, are you one of them? Are you one of these people who say, well, because you're male, you should handle your finances a certain way, or because you're a female, you should handle your finances a certain way, or because you've decided to share some of your life and time together with someone else, now suddenly you should have more or less power over the combined finances of other people. If you believe that, that is sexism, people. That is sexism. Saying that a man has to open the door for a woman, but a woman doesn't have to open a door for a man, that is sexism. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe in manners. I believe in politeness. But I don't believe that because somebody has a certain reproductive organ, they can or cannot act a certain way. And that especially comes toward finances. I have seen this far too often, where it is just this expectation that one person is now supposed to control the other person via finances simply because they have or do not have a certain type of reproductive organism. I need you to ask yourself, are you one of these people? Now, racists. Oh my gosh, I see it in todos gentes all over the place. Like, I love to study other cultures, I love to study other languages, and I see this happen all the time, and it's also outdated. First and foremost, okay? Scientifically, racism is a myth. It's a complete freaking myth, okay? If I have a twin sister and I stay inside all summer long and I am studying and my hair stays dark and my twin sister is outside 12 hours a day, loving, hiking, running around outside, and you see us at the end of that summer, and now because of the amount of sun rays that she has had to deal with, her skin is a different color than me, and her hair is a different color than me. Does that suddenly mean she's a different race? No. And we have been able to prove for decades now that every single human being on this planet is genetically connected with each other. We just have different ancestors with more or less frequent flyer miles, okay? But we are all human. We are all genetically the same. Yes, some people will have more or less melatonin in their skin. Yes, some people will have more elasticity or less elasticity in their hair. Absolutely. But it doesn't make us different. So anybody who says, oh, black people this, white people this, Native American people this, Hindi people that, Pakistani people that, Mexicanos that's complete bullshit, okay? You are not different simply because of your genetic makeup. We are all of the same human DNA, and we've known this for decades now, okay? So this is completely outdated again, but it's gonna have a huge amount of impact on you, a huge amount of pressure, because racism is really just holding yourself or others to a cliche. You have to buy a certain style of clothing in order to be considered one of us, or you have to cut your hair a certain way in order to be one of us. what type of housing you choose to live in. There are a lot of cultures where, it's demeaning to be in an apartment. It's demeaning to live in a trailer. How dare you? It has to be a bigger place. And the cars that you choose to drive. There are plenty of cultures where if you drive a nice car, what the hell are you trying to do? You trying to be better than us? And they treat you differently. Oh, you trying to act a different kind of race? Like, it's just trying to create social manipulation to force you into a cliche. And this comes down to even the foods you choose to eat. I go and I eat all these wonderful cuisines, and I have so many people, especially, 20 years ago when I started doing this or whatever, the people around me, closest to me, they were like, why would you eat that? You're not from that culture. We're all human. We're all on this planet. Why can't I eat it? And it also goes to who you choose as your sexual partner. There's still, to this day, for some retarded reason, is a huge cliche about, interracial. Like I said, there's no fucking reality. It's just humans getting together. And I have firsthand witnessed it myself and with other people. You choose a partner and people are going to reject you or move away from you or assume something negative about you or your partner based simply on the melatonin of your skin or the elasticity of your hair or the color of your eyes. And that is just completely outdated and retarded. But it's going to be a lot of pressure on how you spend your money. Now, nationalism. This, once again, is completely outdated, okay? This is all nationalism is. It's teaching people to hate each other that they've never met over events that they never took part of. You did not take part of the founding of whatever nation you're in. You didn't. So why are you hating people that didn't take part of it either? It's just about behaving in a certain way to identify the geographic location of your birth or dwelling. You know what? If the only nationalism we should have is Earth. That is the only place that we were all born in. That is the only place we all reside in is Earth. That really is all that you need to know about that, because nationalism is just a tool to keep people from leaving the area so that the economy stays strong. That's really what it is. If all the workers were to leave an area, now there's no economy, there's no money, there's no, you can't have a government, you can't have people in power. It all falls apart. So that's what nationalism truly is just to try to keep people in a certain area so that the people who benefit from it can continue to benefit from it. That's all nationalism is. Now, I'm not trying to sound negative here. I'm really not. I want you to question each of these topics and see how they are outdated. See how they are just keeping you back from objectively looking at your income and looking at your expenses and objectively choosing the direction for your life. I don't care if you're 14 reading this or watching this, or if you just celebrated your 92nd birthday. You still have a choice to make. You can still look at the different things that other people put upon you and you just accept it out of repetition or abuse or laziness. And you need to really question who put you where you were and who tried to enforce you to stay where you are. And is that somewhere you really want to stay? Again, this is your choice. I'm not trying to be negative here. This is your choice. The type of people that you're going to be questioning are going to be your loved ones. Look, they mean well. They absolutely mean well. Just like the sexists don't know they're sexist. The racists usually don't even think they're racist. The loved ones, they mean so well. They want to save you and protect you out of the goodness of their heart. And they don't realize by them protecting you, they're just throwing you in a prison. Okay? Loved ones can come in the form of, a mother who never wants anything dirty. So what are you going to do? You're always going to be spending on new clothes or new couches or new carpet. Anytime anything gets dirty, you're going to get new stuff, and you're always going to have the cleaning supplies. And that could be eating out a huge portion of your budget. And you're not even questioning it because you've grown up with a mother who hates anything that's dirty. Or what about the father who wants you to carry on his name? So maybe you're buying a big hunting cabin and you got that big old expensive truck just because you're trying to continue it on. You're trying to make him proud. But what's that doing to your finances? Or how about the sister who only comes over to eat? Well, so then you're always picking up the tab. You want to hang out with her. You want to see her. So you're going to pick up the tab. I've seen that particular example, not necessarily as a sister, but as one person who only comes around to eat, and people will keep saying, well, hey, let's get together. Hey, let's get together, and take up the tab just because they want to see that person. And that's killing your finances. Or how about the brother who only calls when he needs money? So you just keep giving them cash. You just expect it that, oh, I see that caller ID. Okay, I'm going to give them money. Oh, I see that caller ID. Okay, I'm going to give them money. That's going to be affecting your finances. And maybe because you're the oldest child or because you're the more responsible child, you don't even think about it. You've just been doing it for so many days or weeks or decades. It's just a part of your habit. I need you to really be paying attention. These people aren't meaning anything rude. They're not, hopefully, not maliciously trying to hurt you, but they are hurting your finances. Now you're going to have the friends. I mean, they mean well too. They really do. I mean, they're your friend. Now, granted, you're going to have people who don't mean well, but you wouldn't consider them a friend, would you? So I'm talking about the friends, the people you really consider friends, the people you really think are going to try to be there for you. That buddy who always has the next venture startup. Well, you want to be supportive, so you keep investing in his next big idea. Or how about the friend who's always having issues with her relationships? So you give her a used car or your old clothes or cash to cover the latest bill she can't cover because, her mom needs medicine again or any of that kind of stuff. How about the pal who he makes you laugh? So, when you go on trips together. So you keep taking that vacation maybe a couple of times a year just because that's the only time you see him and it's such a great time and you have such a great laughter. But what's that doing to your finances? Or how about that bro who is always down for a crazy adventure? So you give up your weekends whenever he comes into town. You're not building your startup, or you're not spending time with your family, or you're not doing the things that would really push your life forward because, oh, he came into town, drop everything, let's go, because it's the only time you're going to see him. Those are going to affect how you spend your money. Now let's look at on TV. Okay? These are really setting a perception, a belief about your reality and where you should fit in with your reality. Think about it. A banker is supposed to be in a suit, while a mechanic is supposed to be in an oil-stained shirt with cut-up jeans. I mean, there's a very specific look. How about a good mother? Always has her hair blown out and her manicure on point. Ladies, moms out there, is that ever the case? Ever? Maybe for about 15 minutes after you've just gotten with your girlfriends, after 4 years of being a stay-at-home mom. But really? Or how about it has to be a strong husband, always has that clean-shaven face and has got a gun, that's a strong man. Well, what if you don't like guns? Or what if you don't like, what if you do like beards? Or, or how about this? The criminal always has baggy clothes and talks in slang. So anyone who wears baggy clothes must be a criminal, right? Or what about the rich person? Always has these weirdly shaved dogs. Have you ever noticed that? Like when you look on television, if there's a rich person, they always have a weirdly shaved dog and a private jet. I mean, of course, they always have a private jet. So if you were to if you had that visual and you tell yourself, I'm going to be a rich person, you might not even realize that you start, you get a dog and you start paying for dog grooming, or you go ahead and buy a jet and you cannot afford that jet. These are the things that sabotage people. Or what is it with the poor person is always missing a front tooth? Always. You see it on television, oh, they're dirt poor, so they're always missing some of the front teeth. I don't get that. Or how about the boss? When you go into the boss's office, there's always this big leather desk. Huge leather desk, leather chairs, leather everything. And it's just a dead cow everywhere you look. And that's the boss. Well, if you grew up your entire life seeing these visuals, and think about it, millions upon millions of other people have grown up to see this visual, well, whether you talk about it or not, or whether you intend to or not, you are going to have a shared visual belief about what these people are supposed to look like. You go in to see the boss's office and he's just got a lawn chair. You might think, I'm not really taking this guy serious, even though he might have more franchises and a hell of a lot more net worth than the guy with the big leather desk. But because you have these visuals, this false belief about what reality is supposed to be, you could be missing out on amazing opportunities. And that's what I want you to question. Look at the TV shows you watch. When you see whatever you identify with, your religion or your nationalism or your race or your sex on television being represented, do you subconsciously hold yourself to those standards? Do I have to be ladylike and working a corporate job and having a weirdly shaped dog just because of who I am? You gotta question those things. Now, on the radio, and now radio can also mean the songs that you listen to. It can mean the audios that you listen to. It doesn't necessarily have to be AM, FM radio, or Sirius radio kind of thing. Just anything auditory that you listen to. Think about it. And the most obvious is that men must have this deep voice to be taken serious, while women must be slightly fast-paced and slightly higher-pitched. They're always that female that's always needing that new cleaning product, right? And of course, ethnicity must be a strong accent along with self-depreciating humor. What? It's just what? But listen to it. Listen to the audio that you're hearing, and start noticing the sexism, start noticing the racism, just start noticing that you have an environment around you trying to force you to accept a belief system that may or may not be accurate. And all songs are either selling you to buy a product or selling you on an idea. They say that your favorite songs always have been connected to an emotional response somewhere in your life. So look at your favorite songs, the songs that you listen to all the time, and think about the lyrics of that song. Are they selling you on believing that you have to be saved by some man because you're completely helpless, and if he leaves, you'll be so devastated you're going to drive around in your Corvette for hours and not know where to go? Or do you listen to songs that are going to tell you that you have to do drugs, and you have to have bitches, and you have to have hoes, and you can't trust none of them? I mean, really pay attention to what is the reality these songs that you're listening to are trying to sell you. Because if you're listening to it, on some level, you have accepted that reality already. Because if you didn't accept the reality, you wouldn't like that song. So listen to these songs and really get a picture of what is the reality you have created for yourself. What is the reality other people have sold you on that you've just accepted and started to roll with? Now, on the internet, this is interactive, okay? So this is where it gets a little difficult, a little bombardment, okay? Because your posts are expected to use a different terminology than your comments, right? A blog post should not be of the same terminology or length as a comment, or, texting each other should be different. There's so many different cliques and cultures and ways that you're supposed to do it. I mean, you really are expected to know when someone is just laughing or when someone is just offended by you. And you're only supposed to know it by just a few little short characters and a few little slang, and this is changing constantly, right? I just used some old school stuff that hopefully a majority of you already know for that sentence, right? And how about this huge thing about memes? Now, memes force a mentality of you're with us or against us. You either love the meme or you don't get it and get away from me. That's really the culture around memes. And this is just because it's a global tool, you're going to have so many cultures that clash in this medium the most, because this is the medium that allows people to clash. You're probably not going to have Pakistani natives who are, talking over your local FM radio station in the United States. It's just not enough bandwidth. However, you hop onto Facebook and boom, you could be into a group conversation where you have these different cultural beliefs. So I just want you to really understand that the internet is a huge mixture, and you're going to come across more clashes and mixtures on the internet simply because it is global. I know I gave you a lot, and if you do it properly the first couple times, you're probably going to get overwhelmed. Probably going to get very overwhelmed. A lot of people jump to the inaccurate conclusion that it's completely impossible to get along with other people, and that just give up and find your own little hole and make yourself happy. That is not what this is intended for. That is not Lock Tribe, okay? Lock Tribe is about finding your standards, okay? Do you even know what they are? Do you even know what they are? Have you ever actually taken control of what you believe and taken a stand for who you are? Or has it always been, oh, well, it's the family, or it's the religious group, or it's the race that I'm at, or it's the nation I'm born into, and just run with those cliches, run with those confining, outdated stereotypes? And if you have, don't be harsh on yourself. Just, start questioning, start finding it. Okay, so to have your own standards, look, if you're going to keep it, keep the habits that support your inner beliefs, okay? I cannot tell you the number of times I'm literally being locked in a church basement, being forced to go to Awana, and there's other kids being locked in there too that don't believe in the crap that they're trying to sell us. And yet they didn't stand up for it. They didn't have my back when I was questioning and I was showing how it contradicts. And I was saying, you don't get to oppress me and tell me I'm less of a human being because of this book. They weren't being true to their own inner beliefs. But change habits that you keep only out of fear. Because remember, we're Lock Tribe. We're going to accept reality. Okay? And if you're only, I've met so many people who they only hold on to their religious belief because they're afraid. Well, what if it's true? In the case, if it's true, I'm going to live an entire life of fear and never having control over my own life on the off chance that after I die, maybe someone will be nice to me. So that's not reality. Don't live an entire life of fear on the off chance that perhaps maybe one day you might get thrown a carrot. Now, keep standards that you want the next generation to have, okay? Change standards that you know are socially outdated, okay? That's part of your legacy. Lock Tribe knows that we're going to leave a legacy. Now, keep beliefs that help you grow. Absolutely keep beliefs that help you grow. I have a number of religious friends from multiple religions, and it helps them grow. When they're stressing over a project or whatever, they can just give it up to their deity and they stop stressing. That is how they access their closed loop processing, which we'll get into episodes later. And you know what? If it helps them grow, absolutely grow. When someone wants to pray for me or pray with me or do a ceremony for me or do a ceremony with me, absolutely, I participate. If it's what helps them grow, then keep it. Okay? But beliefs that oppress you or those around you, get rid of them. Change those, because that's not growth. And Lock Tribe, we believe in growth. Okay? Now, keep disciplines that protect and reaffirm your self-identity. There is the self-identity of, I am a strong single parent. You know what? If that discipline is going to help you be a better role model for those children, absolutely keep it. Okay? But change disciplines that do self-harm. Okay? Because that's not freedom. To say, I am of this one race, and this one race, I can't ever do anything outside of this little box. There you go. Little box. That's not helpful. That is harming yourself. To say that, oh, I'm a man's man, so I can't practice ballerina. Why can't you practice ballet? Don't keep yourself in a box, because it's not freedom. I want you to be free. I know that I'm a strong person and that I have strong beliefs, but my beliefs are not your beliefs. My experiences are not your experiences. I cannot tell you what your standards are. I can tell you what my standards are, and I will hold firmly to them. But just because I'm strong in my beliefs does not mean you can't be strong in your beliefs as well. So when you're coming across this, I've been doing this self-exploration for about 30 years now, okay? If you're doing this for the first time, don't expect them to be as strong or as passionate as mine are. You are not me, and please don't ever try to be. Because what makes you beautiful is you. No one else can be me. Honey, there ain't another me out there, okay? So don't try to be me, because you can't. Find you and be you. We need to fit into our own tribes, okay? This is Lock Tribe. This is living on cash flow. That's the whole thing about this tribe, is that we're living on cash flow, using these 4 accounts, following these 4 rules, because we uphold these 4 values. That is what this tribe is. If that's not your tribe, that's okay. That's absolutely okay, because we don't all have to fit into one tribe. But we are always going to try to find a tribe to fit into, because that's just how humans work. Now, become aware of how much your tribe is costing you. Okay, and ask yourself if you're okay with that price. It kind of goes with that last episode that we did about the AIM, your actual income measurement, that we went over in episode 5. You've got to ask yourself, are the people I'm hanging out with really helping me achieve my financial goals, or are they kind of depleting me financially? Are these people stating that, you know what, my girlfriend stating that, oh, I have to spend $150 a month to get my hair and my nails done. And if it starts getting, if I say I don't want to, then, oh, heaven forbid, she's lowering her standards and she's not a good person. So out of guilt, I go ahead and do it again. Can't tell you the number of times women have tried this on me, and I just laugh. Like, honey, if you don't like my nails, I've got a specific one that you can go check out. So ask yourself that. You've got to decide that. Now, the choice is yours, okay? I'm just asking you to become aware. I'm not telling you to do anything radical. I'm not telling you to tell everybody screw off. I'm just asking you to become mentally and emotionally aware of these different factors that are going on. And the more you become aware and you observe how other people interact, you're going to start seeing the power dynamic within whatever group you're in, and you're going to start seeing the pressures that they're putting on you to spend or to not spend, to act or to not act. There's a lot of control. A lot of people are codependent. They don't know anything else. The entire childhood has been people telling them, sit down, shut up, let me control you. And they've just continued it on, and they think that's how it's supposed to be. So when the next generation comes on, they say, sit down, shut up, let me control you. So you really need to become aware of who is trying to control you in what way. And just become aware of it at this point. All I'm asking for is awareness. Be aware of how the society that you're in is affecting your financial choices. Because this is your life. I mean, it's important to understand your own values, to create your own identity, to socialize with people who support your identity. I don't socialize with absolutely everybody. I don't support some identities. There are definitely, racists, sexists, outdated people. I don't support that. You would never see me supporting a group that is trying to oppress another type of group. That's not whom I am. And you need to discover your habits that cause harm to other people. When I was, I think, 19, the therapist did not help me at all. But outside in her lounge area, she had this bookcase full of books, and I just kept every week taking one or two home and reading them and processing them. And one of the books that she gave me was called The Verbally Abusive Relationship, and it went over, I think it was like maybe 16 different types of verbal abuse. And you can ask anyone who was around me at that point. Almost every word that came out of my mouth socializing with the people around me was, that's verbal abuse in the form of a joke. That's verbal abuse in the form of overgeneralization. That's verbal abuse. That's verbal abuse. And they started giving me the nickname of Dr. Phil. It wasn't loving. It wasn't, oh, hey, wow, you're identifying this. It was, once again, trying to control me with rejection and ridicule. And I had to discover as well, as I started identifying it with other people, I started identifying when I would do it, when I would choose it. And I have today where, like I'm being sarcastic with my friends, and I'll stop and I'll say, you know what? Actually, I crossed the line. That became verbally abusive because I was still a little mad at you from last week, so I was throwing that in your face. I caught myself on it, and I want you to know I do apologize for that. That's not okay for me to joke like that. You got to learn to set boundaries for your interactions with others. Not only how others are allowed to interact with you, but how you allow yourself to interact with other people. Okay? I'll be sarcastic. I mean, you want to be a jerk? All right, motherfucker, I can be a jerk with you. Come on, you ain't gonna hurt my feelings. But at the same time, I'm never with the intent to be cruel. And if somebody is beginning to show that they're taking my words as cruelty, I now know for my own set of boundaries, I'm not going to allow myself to treat people that way. So just adapt new standards as you learn to take control of your own identity. Understand, you will lose people from your life, okay? You need to accept that this is a healthy part of the process. Because toxic people, they can be related to you, okay? They can be those people. You decide what's toxic in your life. How much verbal abuse you'll take, how much psychological abuse you take, how much physical abuse you take, how much financial abuse you'll take, how much emotional abuse you'll take. It's up to you to decide that. Okay, but just identify the toxic people and find your society standards, because your friends are waiting for you. Like, they really are. There are people out there hoping and wishing to find people just like you're hoping and wishing to find them. So the typical, subscribe. Please just start conversations about society standards. Like, really ask people and really find it out. And encourage people to subscribe so that we can all have a common reference point for lock. If you show me that you've subscribed, you could get a free marketing item if I have them in stock. Make a comment, get to me. Obviously, the sooner you get to me, the more I'll have. And of course, interact with me, because, we only get stronger together. talk to me. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? You're not going to hurt my feelings. This is an opinion to an opinion. There's no hurt feelings going on. So just, I encourage you to interact. And at this stage in the game, I'm still small enough that I can interact with you, whether you see it on here or you see me outside of here. That is our time. And I want you guys to know that you are awesome. And I appreciate you. And I really hope that this helps you question and look around you and figure out what reality you have been built for yourself. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Oh, I guess I have to do that.